was homeless at one time. And so we both thought it would be a great opportunity to share and put a face to this term we hear and read about, homelessness, and who are the homeless. And what we are doing in our community to end homelessness and to help in the meantime as a safety net for those folks who are without housing. So I'm going to turn it over to Toni and Mary.
Hi, like she said, my name is Toni. I am the coordinator for two of our homeless facilities. I run the one in Eau Claire and the one here. So the population we serve is a very vulnerable population, come with a lot of barriers for housing, so a lot of them remain homeless, unfortunately, for a long time. But Mary, she's had her bouts with homelessness, but now is housed. She's remained housed for almost 2 years now. And that's why I brought Mary, to just kind of show you that people can get housed through our program. We do a lot for people in the community. So we are a night-by-night shelter. We provide a meal every night, laundry, showers, anything that makes them feel better, keeps them warm, stuff they won't receive during the day then, because this community kind of lacks the daytime shelter places for them to go. We do have a larger population this year of homeless, but our numbers will still stay the same. Okay, so our numbers will stay the same. So we can only take in 32 people a day, and there's a lot more than that are homeless down in Huska Park especially. I'm actually gonna open tomorrow for the county. We're gonna help run the county COVID unit right now for a month for the homeless people that do have COVID. There is a lot of need for shelter in our community, unfortunately. Some days it's harder than others, but people like Mary's the reason I do my job. I've been with Catholic Charities for 5 years now. Started off as a volunteer, actually, at our day center. Then I interned through college there, and then I started at the warming center. But, I can let Mary go ahead and tell her story a little bit, how she ended up in the Crosse, how she became homeless, and how I met her.
Hi, my name is Mary. As Toni said, I was homeless as well. I come back from Michigan a year and a half ago. Due to some domestic issues up there, and then I needed to be closer to Mayo Clinic. The people I was supposed to stay with, while I was on my way down here, their family moved back in, so I had nowhere to stay. It was cold, it was March. I had nowhere to go. And a friend of mine told me about the warming center and took me down there. And I thank God every night that I was able to get in there, so I had a warm, safe place to sleep. Always got a hot dinner. When we got there, they had showers, laundry facilities if you wanted to wash your clothes. Always had a good breakfast before you left in the morning. All the staff, all of them were wonderful. About 3 weeks into being here, we went into quarantine. And so I was with the warming center then. And during the quarantine, the staff literally went above and beyond for me because I have a lot of health issues and dietary issues and stuff. And so they were able to accommodate me once they knew what I needed. If we needed clothes, you just let the staff know. At the warming center, they had a clothes closet, so you could go in there and get stuff if you needed it, like if you needed underwear. Yeah, I need some undies, right? And shirts, coat, got winter coats there. They were great about keeping all the cots separated for social distancing. If you had an issue, you just talk to the staff members about it, and they would take care of it. When we first went into quarantine, we couldn't go out for walks or anything. And we were at the cathedral, but they had a area of the playground where we could go out and stretch our legs, and I would walk around the whole perimeter with my walker. And timed it and put on my walking app one time. If I went around 9 times exactly, that was 2 miles. So I got in my 2 miles a day of walking. I mean, they had showers there, they had, like I said, they have wonderful food, they have wonderful staff, and I cannot say enough about any of the staff there. Made a lot of friends there. In May, we had moved from the cathedral back to the warming center, and then from there they moved us to the Salvation Army because there was just a few of us left. And while there, Toni was helping me find a place, and we found one, and finally got a hold of the landlord so we can get the rent deposit paid, get the lease signed and everything. And I'm on my 2nd year now in that apartment there. It wasn't my first time being homeless, but it was the first time ever being homeless in the winter and in Wisconsin. So it was a lot different than California. And I don't know, anybody have any questions? Well, the one I went to is the one downtown, and they helped out with the deposit. So once you find a place, they'll help you get in, help you contact the landlords. I didn't quite catch the rest of the question.
I was just wondering, I felt a little bad about the way I heard some community members talking about the warming center being at the cathedral, the Aquinas, the cathedral school spot.
Oh, at the cathedral?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't have any issues there. We had, we had a semi-truck out, so I had showers in it. So I don't remember how many showers, like 6 or 8 or something like that. So everybody can go in. They all had doors that locked and stuff. We had several outhouses, or porta potties, as you call them. So that wasn't an issue. We did have 2 restrooms available to us in there. And then we stayed in the gymnasium. So the staff had use of the kitchen, to prepare our meals. There were a lot of wonderful businesses in town that donated our meals to us, so that we had good food to eat, and we always had snack time. They always had all kinds of good little snacks, chips and crackers and fruit and whatever. And for once they knew about my diet needs, I brought some out for me too, so that I could have some.
So, okay, is it on? Yeah, okay. So there were a few neighbors there that did give us issues, and that's why we had to move back to the warming center. Because of the semi-truck, it wasn't regulated where the showers were. That's what they use for big events and different festivals around the area. Unfortunately, that's why we had to move. Our people do, unfortunately, have issues with some people in the community, saying stuff to them, and it's sad, I do know people have had eggs thrown at them and stuff like that when they're just doing nothing. So it's sad to hear that people are still like that in this time. Yeah, that's a really hard thing to talk about. I actually have one of my close guests. He comes in all the time and volunteers now, who's housed as well. he's the one who they threw eggs at, and he just couldn't understand why somebody would do that to him. And I'm like, because you're homeless and at the park. And unfortunately, you know, he's traumatized by this. And now every day has to live with this. So it's sad. Definitely a sad situation there. Do you have any other questions like that? Did you make any friends? Did you make any friends or connections?
Just wondering if you had made any lasting friends or connections with any folks that you were in quarantine or in the shelter with.
Do you have any? Did you meet any friends or connections like Brian?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. Made quite a few friends there. There's a few of them that I'm still close to. One of them I've been with for 19 months now. We're a couple. Yeah. Another thing I want to say is a lot of people have the misconception that all homeless people are on drugs or alcohol. They're not. Some maybe, but yeah. But some of us are not, never have been, or haven't been for years. And there is a lot of mental illness in there, you know, in the homeless community itself. I myself suffer from depression and anxiety, but I've got a wonderful counselor now. She's taking me through the PTSD and all that, and it's wonderful. I know yeah.
Definitely a lot of misconception about the homeless. A lot of them do have barriers that we use, substance use, mental health, sometimes both. And that's hard, but like people like Mary come in and they're just, you know, in a bad situation who just need a little bit of help to get out of where she's at.
Yeah, my thing, when I first got here, I had money for an apartment. You know, somebody had asked me earlier, and but there was nothing available. And then COVID hit, so it was even harder to find something. Well, I remembered the name of a landlord I had rented from years ago. So we contacted him, and with Toni's help, we went there, signed the lease and everything, and like I said, I'm on my second year there now. So it was just a situation that I ended up in that I wasn't expecting to be in, but you know, I got through it. And then once I got my place, there were some of the volunteers that I had met had brought stuff for me. And then they have the exchange, where you can get furniture and stuff, furniture, dishes, towels, whatever you need for your apartment, and get it all set up for you.
We have some really wonderful volunteers. Like Mary said, some of them took over, you know, different items that she needed for her house. They did that for a lot of our people that went into housing. It's been really a great couple of years running the warming center just to see that happen. Because definitely we always need volunteers. And the hours are kind of hard because they're at night. So we open our doors at 7 o'clock. We get there at 6:30, get everything ready by 7, and then we leave at 8 a.m. So we're there all night long with these people. And some days 24/7 we run a shelter. We did run a 24/7 shelter last year at the Econo Lodge. That was a very difficult time, very big area to run and not be able to watch everybody at one time, so that was a little hard. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have to do that again this year. So, because we did have a COVID outbreak last year. I think 25 of us ended up with it, and I ended up living on the COVID unit with everyone that had COVID. So that was a long couple of weeks, but we do screen everybody, temperature checks, and we have Nurse Sandy, who is the community nurse for Gunderson. She does come in every day and help us with any questions we have. If somebody looks like they're under the weather, they just come in every day. Every Monday, the doctors come in and meet with individuals at the shelter too now, which is a great thing. We've never had that until last year, so that was wonderful. Yeah, COVID has definitely done its toll on us and definitely gave us more hours. Just recently, I went through an outbreak in Eau Claire. I think we had a total of 20 people, including 4 staff, that ended up with COVID. So COVID is definitely doing wonders to everything. It's just crazy for us down there, just to get these people to wear a mask. A lot of them don't understand why. They don't have the news. They don't read the news. They don't understand what's going on out there. So it's kind of hard sometimes, just to be that constant reminder, hey, you got to put your mask on, because we all have to wear it in there, So just going over some of our needs this year, definitely meals. And I know you guys do provide a couple meals for us, which is amazing. And volunteers, like I said, we need volunteers, definitely. A lot of our volunteers are either older or unvaccinated, so they don't feel comfortable coming back. So I've lost a lot of our volunteers. Another needs are donations. We always can use warm winter coats, hats, gloves, scarves, any type of clothing, thermals, anything they may need when they leave, just to stay warm throughout the day. And then always toiletries, different things like that, laundry soap, because we do a lot of laundry down there. And I feel like I'm missing something for needs. But I think that's mainly our needs: volunteers, meals, and donations right now. We did day services all summer, so we ran out of a lot of our toiletries. We went through everything we had left over from last year, which is, it'll hopefully come back.
I do just want to say, if there are people here or online who are not aware that the area ELCA Lutheran churches have said that we will provide food and volunteers for the first and second Friday of each month. So that's November through April. So if you are interested in being part of that group of volunteers, either to provide a meal or to volunteer in person, let me know. I'm Bridget at firstlou.org, and I will get you on the email list, and then you sign yourself up for the times that you're available. If you can help once, that's great. I will say, if you're going to volunteer in person, the first time is a lot of learning. So it would be great if you could sign up for more than once, so that once you've learned the ropes, you can then volunteer more comfortably after that. I've had people say that they are afraid for their personal safety at the warming center, and I have to say I've never felt that way. And so I would encourage you to see what it's like. Sometimes there is somebody who is maybe on something and has an issue, but the staff that's there on hand knows who those people are and keeps an eye out, and also at times doesn't let them come in if they aren't under control. So I've always felt like I was safe, and I'm not sure I've ever been in a more appreciative group for everything you do. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's quite an opportunity.
Like Bridget said, we do have, a few individuals sometimes that are just having a bad day or something is wrong, so we definitely try to remove them from the situation, let them calm down. We are doing a de-escalation training coming up. I'll let Bridget know the dates for sure. And you're more than welcome to come to that. It'll just be kind of an orientation as well then. Just kind of show you how everything runs there, and then we'll do the de-escalation training. So that'll help. If there is a situation like that, like I said, those staff is pretty trained to just come in and take over. So they have dealt with it. They know the people. They've been there for years. All of my staff are all returning staff. I have only one new member this season, so that's really nice because all our staff know everyone. So yeah, it should be a good season, I think, hopefully. Do you guys have any other questions?
I'm wondering what's the actual need? 32 people a day is what you can do?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not sure. Some of the people at Huska Park have never really checked into shelters, so it's really hard to say if they're going to check into shelter this season. So some of them couch surf, they have places to go when it gets cold. So hopefully there will be nobody turned away, but unfortunately there might be. We do go into overflow on with the cold nights. So if it's anything below 15 degrees, then we go into overflow. I know there's 85 tents there, about approximately. But I think some people have 2 tents, so that's why it's so hard to tell right now what our numbers are really going to be.
I was wondering about the age, like, there's an age limit for, or, right, you have to be a certain age to get into the warming shelter, thank you.
The age limit, correct? Okay, yes. So they have to be single adults over age of 18. We don't take any children into our shelter. They're all single adults.
And so, and I know this isn't the warming shelter specifically, but just because we have young people here today, like, what happens to, because there are homeless youth, many of them as well, so
Yep.
what do they do?
They're opening the new youth shelter here in town, so that'll be part of the day services center. They also have a youth shelter there that is opening up. I think a 25-bed youth shelter. Yeah, there's definitely a major need for it right now. Okay, they will take anyone from 24 or 23 under there. Because for some unknown reason, HUD considers that like 24 and under to still be a minor or a young adult.
I was wondering, do you keep lists of friendly employers and landlords that?
Yep, we have certain landlords we work with a lot, but we also have new ones. Like Mary's landlords, the only time I've ever worked with him was with Mary. Maybe there's one other time, but there are certain landlords that will rent to our people. A lot of them have evictions, so it's really hard to get them housed right now. A lot of landlords don't want to work with them. So we have like what we call, what is it? Like a felon, whatever, for jobs. So they have a whole list of every place that will hire people that have barriers.
And what are the things, are there ways that cafeterias is working with local and state government to change those rules so those barriers are fewer?
We do. Yep. So I belong to the Homeless Collaboration, which is part of working at Catholic Charities. We belong to that. And we do have a landlord liaison team, so we do go out and try to meet with the landlords, talk with them, and see if they're willing to just work with us. Unfortunately, I'm changing the law. Every landlord can do, unfortunately, kind of what they want with that. If it's owing money, they can do a credit check, background check, anything like that. Then then there's those barriers. And as soon as they run those checks, probably 3/4 of our people won't get in, unfortunately. But we do work with the collaboration, like I said, to meet with landlords, to talk with them, educate them, break the stigma, I guess.
Yeah, the curiosity is, like, how successful is placement and getting out of the cycle of homelessness? I mean, Mary's a great case, and it's great to hear. I just don't know how often that is.
So when we got Mary housed, I housed 15 people that season. Of all the 15, 2 of them are not in housing anymore. So there's still 13 of them in housing. Last year, I housed 6 of them, I believe, and they're all still in housing as of right now. As long as they have that case management part of it, then they can usually get through their issues. If it's, I don't know, like having friends over. When I say when one gets housed, 10 of them get housed, because they always have their friends over. And trying to get that out, to stop is been a struggle for some, but they're doing pretty good. But as long as we have that case management, weekly meetings, sometimes daily, whatever it takes to keep them housed. So I am still doing case management from 2 years ago when I did the big housing sprint. So. No. No, because of the different situations that they may encounter there, we don't want minors to see anything like that, just because it keeps it safer that way for the minor.
In curiosity about the volunteering, you said it goes 6:30 to 8. Is there like hours of volunteering, or is it come as you want and then you can leave as you want, or how does that work?
So we do a 6:30 to 9:30, and then after that 11 to 1, and then overnights are really hard to fill, to be honest. Nobody really wants to come in and do those times, but then in the morning we have 6 to 8:30, so really just a couple hour shifts. The 6:30 to 9:30 is the busiest shift, and that's where we need a lot of people in the morning time, just to get the individuals out, because when they check in, they have to check all of their belongings into a bin room. They're only allowed to keep certain things on them, like a cell phone is one of the things they can keep. And to get them all to get their stuff, eat breakfast, get their stuff, and be out the door by 8, it takes a lot of teamwork to get everyone out on time. Which, the bin room, I didn't think of that, but having everyone check in all their belongings really is for safety reasons, for volunteers, staff, and for other guests.
I'm curious, I read a lot about affordable housing and the lack of affordable housing, and, like, what is affordable housing? What's affordable? What kind of rent are you able to find? Like how much does somebody pay?
I think average $500 to $650 a month. A lot of them make just that in, like, if they get Social Security. So they definitely need, they can apply for Section 8, which is they help with their rent then, part of it. But the landlord has to also accept the Section 8. So there's a lot of barriers there. The Crosse does definitely need more affordable housing. A lot of units are college units, so they're very expensive, and our people cannot afford that. A lot of our people do receive disability, Social Security, and they don't get that much every month. So just to, by the time they would pay rent, pay electric, pay for groceries if they have to out of pocket, they just can't afford it. So definitely getting some help in there. Coulee Cap helps with TBRA vouchers, permanent supportive housing. We do rapid rehousing through Catholic Charities. We do carry some of the TBRA vouchers as well. But there are housing programs, and people are getting into those. We did get extra money for rapid rehousing, but it's only, I think, 18 months long. So for 18 months, they have to work to get themselves where they can be self-sufficient by the time our help is done.
I was just wondering, you mentioned folks on Social Security and disability and things, but I think one of the other misconceptions about homelessness is that people that are homeless don't have jobs or aren't willing to, and I'm just wondering what your experience is with that in terms of employment.
Oh, yeah, I definitely have people that work. So we always make sure they're up if they have to get up for work. If they're coming in late, we save them a bed every night, as long as they're working. I do have the kid that got the egg through Adam. He has worked always through his entire time of being homeless. I've ever known him has had 2 jobs. So definitely tries. But yeah, a lot of them do have jobs.
Do you think you could maybe talk about, some people have a misconception maybe, or the myth of some people choose or want to be homeless?
Yeah.
I hear that a lot, and I think, just real quick, I would think it just takes persistence to try to kind of keep at it with people, but maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. There is that definitely misconception. Really, nobody wants to be homeless, because when they leave, it's survival mode. So when people say, well, they just want to be homeless. No, they don't just want to be homeless. Do they get by every day, and try to make the best of the day? Yes. But they don't like being out there. Who would really like that? It's horrible, and like I said, they go in survival mode. As soon as they leave that door, it's survival mode for them to get through the day. So nobody wants to live like that. And I know people that get frustrated when they hear that saying they just want to be homeless. Nobody wants to be homeless. It is not a good thing. Some people know, though, if they are to get housed, they're not going to make it through it right now. They're not in that spot where they're ready. So they will tell you that. They'll be, I'm not ready. You know, we can talk about this again